Hello, today we're going to discuss a topic that is on the top of a lot of people's mind, and that is American investment in soccer. Here and abroad, we've had some big stories develop recently where everyone's talking about it, highlighted by Wrexham's second straight promotion into League One, the third division of English football. That means they're 2 steps away from the Premier League. They have made it there. With an incredible vision, genius business plan by Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. And there were some incredible scenes. They promised the public there in Northern Wales that they could get them up, and they delivered. And things have changed in a big way. Today on the Soccer OG, check out the Soccer OG podcast where all podcasts are available. If you haven't heard the episode, we have a Fox Sports World, Fox Soccer Channel reunion. Executive producer Dermot Macquarie, on-air personality Bobby McMahon, and myself talk about the early years in the late 90s of this channel, which brought soccer to the masses. Back then, there was no soccer on TV, and this channel had it all. Some of you young kids, if you don't remember, and I worked for them. This is where it all sprung from, before the Premier League on NBC and before the Champions League emerged and Serie A, etc., where it's become a billion-dollar industry. It wasn't so much then. Sport is building. Check out the story. I think you will like it. Like and subscribe us here. Hit that smash that like, subscribe button. Let's talk about Wrexham. And after they got promoted, there was this narrative on social media and articles. How did they do it? Incredible achievement, pro-rel, the dream, David slung Goliath, the plucky upstarts, the miracle on ice. Okay, let's have real conversations here. I love pro-rel. I love it from my Fox days. I always watch promotion playoffs. It is a system that works by and large, not all the time. I would like to see it here in Major League Soccer, and I think we will at some point, but not right now. But if we are going to talk about the magic of pro-rel, this isn't really it for me. This was a situation where they were aided by an incredible vision, lots of money, lots of resources, lots. It's not just about the wages. It's about the fact that when push comes to shove, these guys and what were able to get things done where they could benefit the club. Lure people over that even with a little bit better pay would not normally come to Wrexham, but talking to these guys, and we see it on the show, can't resist, whether it's Phil Parkinson, the manager, whether it's Paul Mullen, the striker, whether Ben Foster, an England keeper last season, came in to play for them to help them on their first promotion. James McLean, who's got 100 caps for Ireland. Granted, he's a little bit older. He plays for this team. Normally, those kind of guys don't settle down in League Two unless it's for a unique circumstance, which it is with Wrexham. So that is part of what made this more than a plucky upstart. This is a juggernaut. I'm not here to poo-poo on Wrexham. I just want us to be real about this. And Wrexham is not Luton Town like we saw last year. All right? They're kind of more aligned with Man City. I know it's not apples to apples, but Man City got this boost of ownership with a vision. They go from the Championship to the Premier League to become a powerhouse. Wrexham is not the Premier League, I know, but what they were able to do separated from anything these League Two teams could do. They were favorites to get promoted at the beginning of the season. That is unheard of, that you get promoted from whatever the National League is, and then the bookmakers make you a favorite to get promoted again before they played a game in League Two. That's a fact. So, there we go. It's a unique story. Now, the business side of it is really interesting, what Ryan and Rob were able to do. So they came in, they quickly changed things. Remember the shirt sponsor was the tractor company on the show, and quickly we have TikTok on shirts and Aviation Gin, and they leaned in and got all the advantages from their Hollywood connections and their business connections, because I think we've got to talk, these guys are not just, we don't want to call them Hollywood types, because Ryan Reynolds in particular has exceeded all of that with what he's been able to do in the business world. They came in and they did that. Welcome to Wrexham, hit TV show, highly acclaimed, got Disney behind it, more money coming into the Wrexham coffers. They have made Wrexham a brand. Wrexham goes on tour of the United States. They played in 40,000 fans or 30,000 fans in San Diego against Chelsea, I believe. They're doing tours. They play in all these competitions. People from watching the show are going to spend their hard-earned money to go to Northern Wales to see a game or see the town. It's unbelievable. Across the board, hit, 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 hit. They said on the show, just to show the situation, because this is a business deal. The valuation of Wrexham when they bought it in 2021 was $2.5 million. It's now valued at $11 million. What if Wrexham goes to $25 million and they sell? I'm not going to give them grief. I would do the same thing. But I want you to keep that in mind, because this is about making money too. I take Ryan and Rob at face value when they say they have big hearts and they want to help that community. But they don't want to lose money. They don't. So this is a lot of money being pumped in. They took a loss last year. It was like $12 million. They're not going to take a loss again. Everything is in the black. So hats off to what they've been able to do. In the show, early on in season 1, Rob McElhenney would say, if we're not promoted, this is all unsustainable. So they delivered in that. And what that means is they stay in that division, they're pumping all this money, they're going to be losing money because they're not going to gain money playing in League 2 or lower. So it was essential that they did this. So it was a high-pressure situation, and I give them a lot of credit for that. And there was some stuff on the side I wasn't crazy about, the romanticizing it. Is it all authentic? I don't know. I mean, there's some things there where you're like, okay. So, and you can see, some of the things they say on the show is like, well, we better win. They talk like owners. They don't talk like, hey, man, we've got to make this city. They talk like owners a lot of the time, which I completely understand. And as he said, like 40% of American ownership in English clubs. So they're not the only ones doing this. There is a view, and J.J. Watt, who's more of an ambassador, I think, than putting his hard-earned money into Burnley. But there's American ownership in England, 40%. There's ownership in Europe, in South America, because they feel soccer is something good to invest, which is good news. But this is a business property. There's no doubt about it. Salford City, we mentioned in 1992, the 1992 Manchester United squad. That is a club that is the closest comparison to Wrexham. They came from the lower division, and this high-profile ownership group, the 1992 Manchester United players came in, David Beckham, Gary Neville, Ryan Giggs, to get them going. They've stalled a bit, but, this is hard, and it's going to get harder for the Wrexham folks. But this is an interesting story, and I have so much respect for what they've been able to do, and the Wrexham brand continues to grow, as we pointed out. Let's spin it to MLS and the investment here. In American soccer, there's not enough investment top to bottom. I get the feeling people think that there's money being printed for soccer in the United States, and there is not. People are losing money from the broadcast deals to the owners that are putting money in MLS and USL. It's not a money maker. And a lot of people want pro-rel in MLS, and it's not ready yet because you can't have an owner come in, like let's say San Diego, who's coming in next year, and they're going to drop $500 million, and say, by the way, if you finish last, you're getting relegated. We're not there. At some point, MLS will stop growing, and they'll need, I think, some kind of pro-rel, maybe like 10 years or whatever. I truly believe it will happen because it accentuates the property. So, in the meantime, people are asking, help the lower divisions, and MLS has got to look out for itself. They've got to look out for itself. Take care of that. And whether you're a fan of the league or not, it's a big success story. If you took MLS out of the picture, what is our club soccer scene here? There's no investment. MLS, there's people who are trying to invest with what's happening in Miami and LAFC. This is a sign that, soccer is growing. Slow growth, but we should embrace that a little bit more. And I don't feel like we do. There's anger because MLS doesn't do what we do in Europe. And some of the American ownerships are taking their money elsewhere. You would love to have Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds here and all the others here and J.J. Watt helping build the brand. But it doesn't really make sense for them right now, and I totally understand. So recently there was a Board of Governors meeting. Gianni Infantino, the head of FIFA, was there. And with the World Cup in 2026, and everyone's kind of antsy about MLS spending more money so they can build their rosters. Count me in that too. I want MLS to spend more money. I want better rosters because I work for MLS. And the best way for the league to get better, maybe pro rel down the road, but is for these clubs to be better and win internationally. That's good for me. So I wanted to see that. I understand why they didn't spend money in the past. Remember, there was 2 ownership groups back in the day. There was no investment. And there was contraction. Clubs left. This league was hanging over the precipice, but there was steady growth, money to help all clubs raise. And now we have clubs that want to take it to another level. So in MLS, with the Board of Governors, there's a group of clubs and owners that want to loosen the purse strings, start spending. And there's owners that don't. And they want to protect what they have, and that's what we have. And they're very vocal, and the league has to protect all the clubs. So the top clubs get brought down a bit, and maybe the bottom clubs get pulled up a little bit. But we're getting to that point where we got to loosen that up. And I'm a proponent of that, 100%. And there are little things happening. It's very slow growth. But if Gianni Infantino's saying that, and there's these owners at the top wanting to push it, I think there's going to be some kind of change. Maybe not super substantial, but enough to help build a roster so they can be more competitive in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, which is where a lot of the criticism has come up with regards to MLS. The 2024 edition, Philadelphia got smashed. Inter Miami knocked out by Monterrey, wasn't pretty. New England got smashed as well. And everyone's saying, well, MLS can't compete with Liga MX. The Mexican media was having a field day after they couldn't compete at the League's Cup the previous year. And the American media, Henry Bushnell wrote an article about expanding the payroll, and MLS is losing ground. And again, I'm all for it. But they're not losing ground. They're gaining on Liga MX. MLS teams never got close to winning that tournament, but they won it in 2022 with the Sounders. They should have won it with LAFC in 2020. They should have won it with Toronto FC in 2018. They were this close. 2023, there were 2 teams in the semifinals. LAFC were second best in the final, but a bounce of the ball here and they could have won it again. We're writing articles and criticizing MLS, and there's still an MLS team in the semis. And let me tell you something, the Columbus Crew could win this. They're really good. They'll play Monterrey. If they win that, they'll play either Pachuca or America. And while the favorites are America and Monterrey, Columbus has a shot, man. And they haven't had a full deck. They were missing their best player. And this is where the argument for spending more money, because they missed their best player, and then Aiden Mars, maybe their second best player, was suspended for the second game. And they may not have had the players to fill those gaps. That's where you need a deeper roster to compete with Monterrey and America and Tigres. But the Columbus are going to have a full deck. They got a shot. And what if Columbus wins it? Again, I agree they got to spend more money. But when I look at this, the way these tournaments are going, it's not an MLS issue. It's a Liga MX issue. Why do you think Mexican League is getting in bed with MLS? With the League's Cup. They don't have to do that, but they're doing it because they know that's where the future lies. Maybe we see this powerhouse relationship where we have this Super League one day with Mexico and MLS. A lot of people are upset at Major League Soccer because they're jettisoning the Open Cup. I want the Open Cup to stay, but they're banking that with their owners against the League's Cup. And frankly, the League's Cup has got a much higher ceiling, and a relationship with another league like Mexico is unprecedented on the world stage. And I encourage MLS to do things that other places aren't doing it. So, to put a bow on it, we would like to see the MLS clubs get over the top, and we're a little fed up with being second best. The growth it's not going this way. It's kind of going this way, based on the results in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Liga MX has the issue. MLS is growing. It's still growing. And Liga MX wants a taste. That's why you got the League's Cup. That's why you have the All-Star Game. That's why you have all this other stuff. And by the way, people are giving grief to Inter Miami for losing to Monterrey. Inter Miami shouldn't have been in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. They qualified because they won the League's Cup. But they weren't a team that should have qualified based on last year. Columbus was. They were the champions. That's our best club. So all I say with regards to the criticism about the CONCACAF Champions Cup, you can do it, but let's wait for the tournament to end before you unleash. Because it's shoddy journalism if, look, you're going to have egg on your face if Columbus wins. The minute Columbus is eliminated, go to town. All right? I'm all for it. But this is a really interesting conversation. I don't know if I cleared up too much stuff because there's a lot at play, but American ownership is a huge industry. And we need American ownership. And abroad too, because look, Wrexham, even though they're not helping MLS, they're invigorating Americans about soccer. And that's a good thing at the end of the day. So American investment will continue this conversation in many other realms as we move forward. But there's, I hope, some food for thought. The Soccer OG. Check out the Soccer OG podcast, where all podcasts are available. Like and subscribe us here. We'll see you very soon. And pull out your wallet. Spend on soccer.